While taking engagement photos, Robert's childhood sweetheart suddenly burst in. She snatched the leftover mustard from the takeout meal on the table and cried out loudly. "Robert," she wailed, "since you're marrying someone else, I don't want to live anymore. Let this mustard kill me today. I'd rather just die." Robert's heart ached seeing his childhood sweetheart's face red from the mustard. He immediately took her and left without a second glance. In the early hours of the morning, his childhood sweetheart uploaded a photo of them embracing intimately on her social media feed. After I gave the photo a cold like, Robert suddenly called. "Sarah," he said, "Chloe is feeling weak right now. If you want our wedding to go ahead, you need to come over right now and look after her." Hearing that, I just burst out laughing. I turned to look at the wedding photo hanging on the wall. "Sorry," I said, "but you can get lost. Because the groom has been replaced." After hanging up that call, 2 months passed before I saw Robert again at a charity gala. Chloe was nestled in his arms, and they sat intimately in the center seats at the charity gala. Their cozy display drew glances and comments from everyone around them. My arrival made everyone look at the three of us like they were watching a show. "Well, Rob, look, the rich heiress is here to apologize to you." "Miss Sarah," someone added, "Rob has been ignoring you for so long, it seems you finally realized you were wrong." Robert arrogantly shifted his gaze from Chloe to me, looking as if he had me completely under his thumb. "Sarah," he said, his voice sharp, "can't you recognize your place? How dare you hang up on me? While I'm still in a good mood, hurry up and kneel before me to apologize, or I'll keep ignoring you." Seeing I didn't move, he raised his hand to throw the drink from the table at me. Luckily, I dodged just in time, and the drink splashed onto the floor. A flicker of furious aspiration crossed his face. "Don't you have any sense?" he demanded. "Is this how you beg for forgiveness?" Looking at the person before me, I remembered the countless times in the 7 years we'd known each other and been together, how he had forcefully demanded I apologize. Back then, filled with burgeoning love for him, all I could think about was him. Even when he yelled at me at an alumni event in front of teachers and classmates, I would just feel devastated, apologizing endlessly and trying to figure out why I had upset him. The next day, I would even meticulously prepare expensive luxury gifts and bring them to him to apologize yet again. But now, looking at the man before me who was clearly about to humiliate me, I said indifferently, "You're mistaken. I'm not here to apologize." Robert watched me walk past him coldly. He suddenly grabbed my hand, his voice tight with suppressed anger. "Sarah, who are you trying to fool?" he demanded. "Across the city, everyone knows you liked me so much you'd practically die for me. Now I'm giving you a chance to beg for my forgiveness. All you have to do is make a donation at the charity gala in Chloe's name, and I might let you stay by my side. How about that?" Hearing this, Chloe immediately looked displeased. "Robert," she pouted, "I would never use her filthy money for a donation. Money like hers, earned just from doing business, is so worthless no one would pick it up off the street. Even if it were given to me for free, I'd be disgusted." Robert watched Chloe's tantrum with an indulgent look. All right, he cooed, "then we won't use her filthy money. How about we use the allowance I give you every year?" Chloe lightly shook Robert's arm, whining playfully, "The money Robert gives me is the cleanest money in the world." Chloe, now happy and laughing from Robert's soothing, looked at me with disdain. "Sarah," she sneered, "can't you stop thinking about making money all day? A woman like you just reeks of money, no wonder Robert dislikes you. You should learn from me how to keep Robert happy. Even though you're about to marry him, I don't mind sharing him with you. As long as you do whatever I tell you every day, I'll make sure Robert pays a little more attention to you. How about that?" Listening to Chloe's audacious bragging, I shifted my gaze to the necklace around her neck. This necklace was a piece of British royal jewelry that I bought for 20 million at a Sotheby's auction. The daughter of a driver, wearing a necklace I worked day and night to earn the money for, was here showing it off and yet kept bad-mouthing my money. How utterly ridiculous. I didn't want to waste another second dealing with them. I turned and went to the seat the organizers had prepared for me. Robert saw me sitting at a nearby table. He frowned, silently studying me, sensing vaguely that something about me had changed. But before he could figure it out, Chloe, nestled in his arms, deliberately raised her voice to mock me. "Robert, look at her," Chloe purred. "She really looks like a pathetic woman nobody wants. I really don't understand why someone like that was invited to such a high-class event. It totally lowers your and my standing." She wanted to keep talking, but Rob's hangers-on sitting at the same table scoffed. "What does it matter if you don't like her? She doesn't just have her own company, her parents are the richest people in different states/regions. Sarah is so devoted to Rob. After he marries her, all that money will be his anyway. Man, Rob's charm is really something. This kind of crazy wealth, I couldn't get it even if I tried." One of them patted Rob on the shoulder and flattered him. "Hey Rob, when you make it big, don't forget about us guys." Robert's smile from the flattery couldn't be suppressed. He pretended to be disdainful and said, "I don't care for such easy, dirty money. A worthless woman like her is just a plaything to pass the time for me. Looking at her for one more second makes me sick." As he said this, he watched my face for a reaction. If I were the old me hearing those words, I would have been so upset I couldn't breathe, kneeling before him and constantly blaming myself. But now, I didn't even spare him a glance. I even got up and moved my chair a few feet away. Robert's face immediately darkened when he saw my action. He shot up from his seat and walked towards me with a hostile look, but was stopped by Chloe. "Robert, the charity gala is about to start. Don't leave me, I'm scared sitting here by myself." Watching Chloe's whining act, Robert glanced at me and sat down again. After the charity gala began, the large screen in the center of the stage continuously played videos of impoverished families. From the moment the video started until it ended, Chloe's tears didn't stop. Pointing at the emaciated children on the screen, she cried out, "Robert, that child is so pitiful. I want to donate to him." She took out a few small bills from her purse and said, "But Robert, what if the money I brought isn't enough to help them go to school?" Robert looked at her pitiable appearance, waved his hand grandly, took the host's microphone, and generously declared, "For every family featured in the video tonight, I will donate $5 million in Chloe's name." As soon as he said this, he was met with enthusiastic applause from the crowd. Robert sat down amidst everyone's adoring and admiring gazes. Chloe excitedly gave him a passionate kiss in front of everyone. "Robert, you are truly too kind," she exclaimed. Seeing Robert basking in the applause, I quietly instructed my assistant to freeze the bank card I had given him. Sitting in the corner, I quietly waited for the show to begin. After the dinner, a staff member invited Robert to make the transfer, but the card I had frozen couldn't transfer a single cent, no matter what he did. As I watched his embarrassed stat and was about to get up and leave, Robert called out to me. He pointed at the card reader in the staff member's hand as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Sarah," he demanded, "transfer the money to the charity gala in Chloe's name right now." I asked coldly, "Why should I?" Robert looked down at me condescendingly. "If you want our wedding to go smoothly," he said, "transfer this sum of over $200 million right now. Anyway, you have so much money, you won't even miss this amount." Seeing I stood there without moving, Chloe, self-righteously, accused me. "Sarah, how can you be so heartless? You have so much money, yet you're unwilling to donate even to those poor families. That's truly heartless. No wonder Robert doesn't want to marry you. A cold-blooded woman like you deserves to be unwanted." After saying that, Chloe, with a look of self-righteousness, hooked her arm through Robert's. The staff member looked bewildered at the backs of the two as they left, holding the card reader and clearly unsure what to do. Seeing this, I took out my card and handed it to the staff member. "I'll donate $500 million, I said. However, I wasn't donating in Chloe's name, but in that person's name. That person was always kind and soft-hearted. Knowing I donated on his behalf to help so many impoverished families, I knew he would be happy. After leaving the gala venue, I drove to a spa resort to relax, but I didn't expect to see Robert and Chloe, who had arrived earlier, as soon as I changed. After Chloe saw the jeweled hairpin I had in my updo, her eyes filled with the desire to take it for herself. She lightly shook Robert's arm and said, "The hairpin in her hair is so beautiful, I want one too." Hearing this, Robert immediately spoke up for Chloe and demanded, "Sarah, hand over your hairpin to Chloe right now. Chloe is someone I cherish deeply. If you take this chance to make her happy, I might grudgingly give you 10 minutes of my time. Otherwise, you won't even get a chance to see me." He sat swaggering in the most luxurious room at the spa resort and even ordered the most expensive wine they had, 100,000 a bottle. Watching this scene unfold, I suddenly understood that people really do laugh when they are speechless. I was truly curious what gave Robert the nerve to spend my money while acting entitled to demand I humble myself before Chloe. They were doing unspeakable things on the bed I had prepared for us, yet they turned around and claimed I was slandering their pure relationship, and then repeatedly humiliated me. In those 7 years, his face, which used to make my heart race even in dreams, was the same face that resolutely left me behind during our engagement photo session. After that, my burning love for him suddenly vanished. Now, even being in the same room as him, just a few feet away, makes my stomach turn. I truly doubted how I could have ever fallen for such a pathetic person. Before I could react, Robert quickly snatched the hairpin from my hair. Just as I was about to grab it back, he had already stuck the hairpin in Chloe's hair. "I'm taking this hairpin as a gift for getting back in my good graces. Now get out of my sight immediately. If you anger me again, I won't forgive you even if you give me every single penny you own." Chloe leaned back contentedly in Robert's arms and said, "Sarah, who are you giving that icy look for? It's just an emerald hairpin we took from you," she scoffed. "With that stingy look on your face, just looking at you is bad luck." She pointed at the ring made from a kintab on Robert's finger. "The gifts I give Robert are all chosen with care," she said. "They represent my sincere heart." I couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Full of sincerity, indeed," I said. "I'm afraid you'd find even more of your so-called sincerity in a trash can." Chloe, whom I had mocked, stared at me with wide, teary eyes, as if he had suffered unspeakable humiliation, biting her lower lip and glaring stubbornly at me. "Sarah, maybe I don't have as much money as you, but I earned every penny of mine through hard work, unlike a hateful capitalist like you." Seeing Chloe's face red with anger, Robert quickly pulled her into his arms to comfort her. "Chloe, don't cry." Immediately, Robert turned and snapped at me. "Sarah, you've gone too far. Apologize to Chloe right now." I said with a cold face, "Who's really gone too far?" Seeing my unyielding attitude, Chloe squeezed tears from her eyes. "Robert," she whimpered, "don't get upset with her because of me. A little bit of bullying doesn't matter." Hearing this, Robert's face instantly darkened. He raised his hand and slapped me hard across the face. The slap immediately made my nose bleed. Pointing at me, he cursed angrily. "Sarah," he snarled, "you've contradicted me again and again today. It seems you don't want our wedding to go smoothly. I'm telling you right now, even if you get down on your knees and beg me, I will never marry you." He glared at me furiously and immediately took Chloe and left. I turned to look, and his suddenly slowed pace seemed as if he was waiting for me to chase after him and beg for forgiveness. If it were before, I would definitely have chased after him, sobbing uncontrollably, grabbing his legs, and begging him not to leave. But now, I felt nothing. Let that slap be the punctuation mark ending the relationship between us. A week later, the bridal shop called to say that the wedding dress customized from France had arrived. When I drove to the bridal shop, as soon as I opened the door, I saw all the staff looking at me with awkward expressions. I asked, confused, "What happened? Where is my wedding dress? Is there a problem?" The manager had a difficult expression on her face. "There's nothing wrong with the wedding dress," she said, "but..." The manager didn't answer me but led me to the door of a VIP lounge. Just as I was about to push the door open, I heard Chloe's cries from inside that made me blush. "Robert, being with you makes me so happy." 20 minutes passed, and the sounds from inside finally stopped. When Robert came out holding a blushing Chloe, he immediately saw me sitting on the sofa drinking tea. He looked at me with a raised eyebrow, clearly thinking I had come to apologize. Robert, acting as if he had me right where he wanted me, ordered me, "Since you're here, hurry up and apologize to Chloe and me." "Given your sincerity," he said, "as long as you buy that dress Chloe likes in this shop, I'll immediately forgive you." Hearing this, I suddenly wondered who gave Robert the nerve to so naturally spend my money as if it were his own. Just as he finished speaking, Chloe suddenly let out a gasp of surprise. She saw the manager take out the wedding dress I was about to try on, her eyes full of obvious delight. "Robert, this wedding dress is so beautiful, I really love it." Hearing this, Robert, as expected, ordered the manager to bring the wedding dress to Chloe. The manager glanced at me nervously and refused. "I'm sorry, Mr. Robert," she said, "this is Miss Sarah's heavily customized wedding dress. It cannot be borrowed for others to try on." Hearing this, Chloe's eyes immediately welled up. "Okay," she whimpered, "so I guess I'm not worthy of wearing such a beautiful wedding dress." Seeing Chloe about to burst into tears, Robert, protective as ever, said with a hostile expression, "I'm the groom marrying Sarah, what the bride wears is up to me." He glared at me furiously. "Sarah," he commanded, "I order you to immediately choose a different wedding dress and give this one to Chloe to wear." Seeing me stare at him coldly, just as Robert raised his hand to slap me again, his phone suddenly rang. Seeing the caller ID, a flicker of panic crossed his face. He quickly ducked into a corner, taking the call with a fawning smile. After he hung up and walked back, his attitude towards me suddenly changed completely. Robert cleared his throat. "Look," he said in a low voice, "since you're about to become my wife, we'll let you have this wedding dress. But on the condition that you transfer 50 million to me. That's practically pocket change for you. Also, at the wedding in 2 weeks, you have to let Chloe be the bride. Chloe's biggest wish is to be my bride. You have to cooperate with me to make Chloe's dream come true. Don't worry, after the wedding, I'll let you stay by my side all day, as compensation." He put on an air of great sacrifice, as if he were suffering some huge injustice to anyone who didn't know better. The more I looked at him, the more I felt like I must have been completely blind back then. What was I thinking? In nearly 30 years of living, this was the first time I had ever heard of a groom replacing the bride at a wedding. I, a socialite who grew up in luxury, was expected to give way to a driver's daughter? He had to be dreaming. I looked at Robert with icy eyes. "Robert," I said, "what makes you so sure I'll marry you?" He laughed arrogantly. "Besides me," he sneered, "who else would want a worthless woman like you?" After saying that, he snatched the wedding dress and handed it to Chloe. Chloe held it up to the mirror for a moment, and after confirming she couldn't fit into it, she looked disappointed. "Robert," she said sadly, "I can't fit into it." Robert was about to comfort her, when Chloe suddenly laughed. "Since I can't fit into it," she said, "and Sarah looks like she's gained so much weight, she definitely can't fit into it either. So we don't need this wedding dress." She suddenly picked up the scissors from the table and ripped the wedding dress to shreds. A wedding dress worth millions, destroyed in an instant. Seeing this, my anger flared, and I slapped her across the face. Before Chloe's tears could even fall, Robert angrily stepped in to defend her. "Sarah dared to hit her?" he raged. "You've humiliated Chloe time and again. Today, I'm going to teach you a serious lesson." He took out the heirloom pendant my deceased grandfather had instructed me to give to my future husband and threw it hard onto the ground. "There's no longer any need for this heirloom pendant." "No!" I desperately wanted to stop him, but it was too late. The warm, flawless heirloom pendant shattered into pieces in the blink of an eye. Looking at the pieces scattered on the floor, I felt as though I was seeing my grandfather lying on his deathbed. I lowered my eyes, watched Robert and Chloe walk away uncaringly, and clenched my fists. "Robert, Chloe, in 2 weeks, let's see if you're still laughing." Since I was their only child, my parents held an unprecedentedly grand wedding. That day, not only did all the prominent figures from the political and business circles attend, but there were also many guests who arrived by plane from different states/regions. Robert, who had never sent anyone to inform me he would attend the wedding, showed up at the wedding venue on his own. As soon as he appeared, people immediately crowded around him to offer congratulations. "Groom, after today, you'll be the richest man across the city. Remember to take care of us guys in the future. We hope Mr. Robert will do more business with our companies in the future, so that we smaller companies can benefit from your success." Robert was so delighted by the flattery that he couldn't stop grinning from the moment he arrived. When I appeared at the venue wearing another wedding dress from the bridal shop, he quickly walked to my side and complained to me in a low voice. "Today is the wedding, why didn't you arrange for someone to pick me up? I had to rush to buy a suit from a luxury store. Later, have someone pay for this suit, and then transfer $5 billion to me for emotional distress." Robert stood beside me, rambling on. Every word that came out of his mouth made me feel sick. I wasn't in the mood to look at him anymore. I was fully focused on the entrance of the wedding venue. Robert saw I was ignoring him, and his face immediately turned ugly. "Sarah," he snapped, "are you not listening to me? Besides, who told you to dress so beautifully today? Are you intentionally trying to embarrass Chloe during the second half of the wedding ceremony, intentionally trying to make her lose face?" I couldn't take it anymore. "You're overthinking it," I replied. "You and Chloe were never important to me." Robert threatened, "It better be that way, or you can forget about me ever speaking to you again." Just as he finished speaking, my parents, dressed formally, slowly walked over to my side. They saw Robert standing beside me and were clearly surprised for a moment. Father pointed at Robert and asked me, "Why is he here?" Robert quickly replied, "Mr. Thompson." "Oh, no, I should call you father now. You must be joking. Of course I'm here to marry Sarah." My parents exchanged bewildered glances. Just as they were about to ask me what was going on, the host on stage suddenly announced the start of the wedding. Hearing this, Robert straightened up, waiting for me to link my arm with his and walk down the aisle. But I didn't even spare him a glance, striding towards the man standing at the entrance, dressed in a groom's suit. Under Robert's shocked gaze, I held a microphone and clasped James's hands in front of everyone. "Thank you all for attending our wedding," I said into the microphone. "Now I want to formally introduce the man standing beside me. He is the groom of this wedding, James. He will be the only man I love in this life." As soon as I finished speaking, the venue fell silent. A few seconds later, a deafening roar sounded. "Sarah, what nonsense are you talking about?" Robert yelled. "I'm your groom." As soon as he said this, the quiet venue instantly erupted into chatter. All the wedding guests were whispering and discussing the relationship between the three of us. Robert realized he had become the subject of the guests' discussions, and his face was exceptionally grim. "Sarah, hurry up and come over here. We need to continue the wedding. Stop making a scene." I stood my ground, looking at him coldly. "Robert," I said, "you're the one who needs to leave here immediately and stop interfering with my wedding." Robert was stunned for a moment. "Sarah," he said, "stop joking with me." I replied coldly, "I'm not joking." I pointed at the wedding photo displayed in the center. "From the moment you left during our engagement photos for another woman, you were no longer my groom." Robert looked at the wedding photo, seeing the new groom, and his face changed dramatically. "What do you mean by that?" he spluttered. "Aren't you worried about making me angry and me leaving you?" Hearing Robert emphasize his importance to me again, I burst out laughing. "Robert," I said, still laughing, "who gave you the nerve to think I couldn't live without you? Even if I were the biggest fool, I wouldn't marry a man who constantly teams up with other women to bully me." As soon as I said this, Robert shamelessly retorted, "You say I bullied you? Then prove it." I laughed sarcastically. "There's no need for proof. You kept using my card to spend money on Chloe, you humiliated me multiple times in public, you not only ruined the wedding dress I prepared for the wedding, but worst of all, you deliberately smashed the heirloom my grandfather left behind. After all the things you've done," I said angrily, "how do you still have the nerve to say you want to marry me?" Seeing everyone looking at him with strange eyes, Robert hastily said, "No, wait. Let me explain. I did that just to test your true feelings for me." Before he could finish twisting the facts, James, standing beside me, suddenly stepped forward and punched him. James said sternly, "Shut up. Security, get him out of here now." Robert saw several security guards walking towards him. He urgently cried out, "Sarah, have you forgotten that I saved your life?" "Don't forget," he boasted, "I saved your life." His eyes gleamed with confidence, as if by holding the life-saving favor over me, he believed I would be completely obedient. "Are you referring to the time 7 years ago when I was in a car accident and you took me to the hospital?" Seeing I brought it up, Robert nodded excitedly, shouting, "If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be alive today." Watching Robert still refuse to tell the truth, I, furious, clenched my fists and angrily exposed him. "Robert," I demanded, "how long did you plan to keep deceiving me? The person who saved my life back then wasn't you at all. You took credit for James saving my life and have been deceiving me about it until now." Robert realized I already knew the truth, and his face turned ashen. He pointed at James and slandered, "Did he fabricate facts and try to drive a wedge between us?" "Sarah, the word in the circle is that James's company is facing a financial crisis. He must be trying to trick you into marrying him so he can use your money to save his company. You absolutely must not believe him," he pleaded. "Only I am truly sincere towards you." Sincerity? Is your sincere heart abandoning me repeatedly for other women? I took a step back, looked at Robert with icy eyes, and ordered the security guards, "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and get this shameless man out of here." As soon as I said this, the security guards quickly surrounded Robert. Robert, still unwilling to give up, struggled desperately. "Sarah, listen to me," he cried. "It's not like that. Let me explain." His shouting made my father frown deeply. "Mr. Robert," he said sternly, "please be quiet. Don't lose your composure in this setting. Mr. Thompson, don't believe what others are saying. I'm not that kind of person at all. You absolutely must not let Sarah marry him. James is only after the Thompson family's money." "Enough," Father rebuked. "Having worked in the business world for decades, I can tell a fraud when I see one." Seeing Father's sharp, eagle-like eyes fixed on him, Robert was immediately too scared to speak. Under Father's imposing gaze, Robert was escorted out of the wedding venue by the security guards amidst everyone's disdainful stares. Because Robert made such a scene at the wedding, my parents were worried about my well-being and decided to cancel the wedding for the time being. James, who learned of this decision, did not object. He ruffled my hair and said, "Sarah, I promise I will give you an incredibly grand wedding in the future." Hearing this, my parents also looked at James with satisfaction. After the wedding was hastily cancelled, Father believed it was his lack of attentiveness to me that allowed someone with malicious intentions like Robert to get close to me. So, filled with guilt, he knocked on my room door. The first thing my father, who was over 50, said was an apology. "Daughter, this is all Dad's fault for not taking good care of you. If I had always been by your side, you wouldn't have met a bad man like Robert." I took a tissue and wiped away the tears from Father's eyes. "Dad," I said, "this isn't your fault. No one would have thought that someone would impersonate the person who saved your life back then. And now I've found someone who truly loves me. I know I will be happy in the future." As soon as I said this, the scene of Robert mercilessly leaving me at the engagement photo session that day immediately came to my mind. That day, I called him until my phone battery died, but I couldn't get through. As I was getting anxious and distressed, almost going crazy, my phone suddenly received a video call from Robert. I quickly pressed the answer button, but the face that appeared on the screen was Chloe's deceptively innocent face. She put her index finger to her lips and whispered, "Shoo. Robert is sleeping on me right now. Don't wake him up." Seeing my helpless look, Chloe continued to provoke me. "Sarah," she smirked, "you have really good taste. This bed you chose for your new home is really comfortable." After saying that, she deliberately turned the camera to show the furnishings in the room. Through the phone, I immediately recognized that this was the new apartment I had just finished decorating with care. Chloe deliberately picked up a used condom, held it up to the camera, and provoked me. "Sarah," she taunted, "Robert really loves me so much, he can't bear to let me rest for a single moment." "Shut up!" I yelled furiously, angered, and smashed my phone on the ground, shattering it into pieces. I immediately left home, floored the gas pedal, and went to a nearby bar to drink and vent. The bar was packed with all sorts of people, and I, being drunk, was quickly targeted by some bad guys. Just as they were dragging my unconscious body out of the bar to take me away, a man suddenly stopped them. He threatened to call the police and rescued me from those guys. The next day, when I woke up on a strange bed, I immediately saw my university classmate James watching by the bedside. As soon as I moved my arm, which had fallen asleep, he was startled awake by my movement. James quickly sat up. "Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere?" he asked. As he moved, I suddenly saw a scar covering half of his chest. This scar was exactly the same as the scar on the person who saved me from the car accident 7 years ago. I instinctively grabbed his hand, my eyes fixed on the person before me. "Where did you get this scar?" Thinking of the words I was about to say, my body trembled with tension. 7 years ago," I stammered. "Were you the one who saved me?" James was silent for a long moment. He slowly said, "It was me. I saw you being wheeled out of the operating room with my own eyes before I left the hospital." "Then why didn't you come find me?" I cried out, my voice breaking. James said, his voice filled with helplessness and sadness, "I went home to change and wanted to see you, but Robert was already by your side. You were holding his hand, having him stay with you. I just quietly left." I asked emotionally, pressing him, "Then why didn't you explain it to me all these years?" "I was afraid of disturbing your happy life." Hearing that, I instantly broke down. It turned out I had recognized the wrong savior all these 7 years. 7 years of feelings were like a joke, manipulated by Robert. Remembering this, I looked at my father firmly. "Dad," I said, "this time I've met the person I truly want to marry. I know I will be happy in the future." To help me forget those unpleasant things, James wanted to take me abroad to get away for a while. But as soon as I opened the mansion door, I saw Robert standing before me with a pile of gifts. He saw James holding my hand, and his face instantly changed, like a husband who had just witnessed his wife's infidelity. "Let go of my wife," he roared furiously. Robert's eyes were red with rage. He picked up a flower pot from the yard and threw it at James. James stepped back, and the flower pot flew past him, hitting the ground. Robert was visibly frustrated that the flower pot didn't hit James, but when he turned to look at me, his face was full of tenderness. "Sarah," he said softly, "I know you're upset about what happened before. I solemnly apologize to you right now," he said. "Come back to me immediately, or I'll really leave you." Robert's tone was full of threats, convinced that I was still completely devoted to him. Looking at his narcissistic expression, I laughed speechlessly. "Robert," I said, "did I not make myself clear that day? I have no feelings for you anymore," I stated. And I certainly wouldn't have feelings for a liar. Seeing I mentioned what happened 7 years ago, Robert's face showed obvious guilt. I didn't want to see him for another second. I took James's hand, ready to leave. But Robert suddenly blocked my path, absolutely refusing to let me leave. "No way," he declared. "Sarah, breaking up isn't something you get to decide. What do you think I am, Robert? You think you can just break up whenever you feel like it? No way." His tone suddenly lowered. "Aren't you just upset with me because of Chloe?" he said. "Then I can just break up with her, right?" I thought he was just lying to appease me, but he suddenly walked towards the car that had arrived and yanked Chloe, who was watching from the passenger seat, out. Robert dragged Chloe in front of me and kicked her to the ground right in front of me. Her head hit a raised stone by the roadside, and her pale face was gashed open. Robert grabbed Chloe by the hair. "Are you satisfied now?" he said. I looked at the blood flowing from Chloe's face and was speechless. However, my reaction was interpreted by Robert as dissatisfaction. He glanced at me and increased the intensity of his beating on Chloe. Chloe, in pain, instinctively covered her stomach. "Stop hitting me," she screamed. "Have you forgotten I'm pregnant with your child?" Hearing that, I froze in place. Although I was disgusted by Robert's actions, I still stepped in to stop him. Robert saw my attitude change, and a fawning smile immediately appeared on his face. "Sarah," he said, "are you feeling better now?" "No," Seeing him take out his anger on Chloe like that made me feel waves of nausea, and sheer annoyance filled my entire being. Unable to bear it anymore, I yelled for the security guards. "Quickly take these two away," I ordered. "If they ever show up here again, call the police immediately." Robert realized I truly had no feelings left for him. He dodged the security guards, knelt on the ground, and grabbed my legs. "Sarah, you can't leave me. Chloe and I owe $50 million in debt from the casino. If we don't pay it back soon, they'll chop off my arm. Please, you have to save me." I kicked him away. "You got yourself into this mess," I said. "You fix it." Just as I finished speaking, several cars suddenly stopped outside the mansion. The people who got out looked fierce and menacing. They walked towards Robert and Chloe with hostile expressions. Seeing this was bad, James subtly took out his phone to call the police. Before the police arrived, they pinned Robert down, demanding payment. "Didn't you say you'd pay me back today?" the leader snarled. "Where's the money?" Robert glanced at me pleadingly, but seeing I wasn't going to help, he struggled to pull Chloe in front of the group. "I haven't gotten the money together yet," he pleaded. "Please, give me a few more days." "How about you take her to settle some of the debt?" he offered desperately. "I'll pay you back the rest as soon as possible." Chloe screamed in terror, breaking down. "Robert," she shrieked, "you're not even human." The man looked at the gash on Chloe's face and angrily kicked Robert. "Damn it," he snarled, "you're trying to fob me off with a woman whose face is ruined? You think I'm easy to fool? Looks like we need to use some special methods to make you remember," he said. "You're clearly not being honest." After saying that, he ordered his men to take out a large knife from the car. Just as he was about to swing it at Robert's arm, police sirens suddenly sounded, growing closer. Then a commanding voice rang out. "Drop your weapons. Put your hands up." The police quickly arrived and surrounded the people, quickly subduing them and taking them to the police car. James and I, as witnesses, were also asked to go to the police station to give statements. After leaving the police station, we learned that Robert and Chloe had been illegally operating an underground casino all these years. The menacing-looking men were loan sharks Robert had borrowed from to keep the gambling operation running. Now with clear evidence, Robert and Chloe's crimes were confirmed, and they were about to face prison time. As I walked out of the police station doors, I looked at the clouds in the distance and suddenly felt a sense of relief, as if all the troubles clinging to me had been shaken off. The bright sunshine shone down. Looking at the person I loved standing by my side, I suddenly felt as though a happy future was beckoning.